What's up, guys? Welcome back. This is John with the Knife Shop and Survival Outpost. Today we're going to be talking about survival mentality. Stay tuned. Alright guys, so today we're going to be talking about a survival mentality or a survival philosophy that I have that I use in every day of my life. Now, as you can see, we are not in the studio today. And I'm gonna be doing a lot more outdoor videos and a lot more videos at this campsite that I have on the back side of my property. Since the weather's nicer and a lot more people are getting out, I wanna show a lot more techniques and a lot more skill in the outdoors instead of just talking a lot. So today, as I was getting ready to do a fire baking video under wet conditions, this philosophy came back up into my mind. And again, I will say this in a way to not offend people, but whenever you talk about going to the outdoors, and I'm just using that for the primary example, there are people who take very minimal stuff with them, and there are people that do overkill. And then there's those like me and some other people that have like this mid-range where I take extra equipment or extra gear, but I still value weight. And that's where this mentality comes in. So the mentality is this, and I'm gonna break it down a lot more. What amount of energy is it gonna take me to do the task? And will that task, whatever it will be equal to or greater than the energy I am expending? And if it's not, how can I improve myself or improve my equipment to make it to where it can? Now, I will say there's going to be some situations to where you have to use what you have and make it work. But if you're going on a day hike and all you take with you is just a bottle of water, you've set yourself up for failure if something bad happens. I mean, you don't wear a seatbelt anticipating getting into a wreck. You wear a seatbelt just in case it happens. And that's where I'm at. I'm in that mid ground. I take enough equipment with me or have enough knowledge with me that say if I'm going out on a day hike, I might not carry a tarp or a shelter with me, but I will carry cordage to make a shelter because I have that knowledge. So that's where this philosophy is going to break down. So let's get through. I'm going to do part 1 and 2 on it. All right, guys, so let's talk about part 1 and 2. Now, these are not necessarily separate. They are one and the same, but I wanted to break them up so you can slow down and think about it. Now, based after what I just said about how much energy is it going to take me to do this task and what is the reward, is it greater or equal or greater to the energy I produced? And if it's not, how can I make it better, right? So, first question I will ask myself, what tools do I need to do the project better? Now, this could be any project. This could be a work thing. This could be a survival thing. This could be house chores. When I blacksmith, I will make a prototype. While I'm making the prototype, I'm thinking about how I can make it faster if it's something that I want to continue to make, so I can do production of it. So if I make a skillet, for example, I'm already thinking of a way to make that skillet faster next time. Now, the first time I do this, say I'm stuck out and I get lost once and I didn't bring all my right gear. While I'm lost, I'm thinking about what happens if I ever do this again and what do I need to bring with me to make it better. 2, what knowledge do I need to do the project better? Now, both of those go hand in hand, but let's go back to where I was talking about. If I go out hiking for a day, I'm not going to carry a shelter with me, but I am going to carry a tool, which will be cordage. Now, I carry other tools. I'm just using this for an example. I do carry cordage with me, and I do have the knowledge to build a shelter. So I don't necessarily, for a day hike, have to carry extra huge amounts of gear, but I am going to need the cordage because I don't want to make the cordage. Because if I have to make the cordage, I am now expending more energy to do the project that is going to also deplete that energy for other tasks I need to do. The same thing goes for if I'm needing to set traps, if I'm needing to fish, if I'm needing, whatever it is I'm needing to do, what is it that I'm doing? How much energy is it going to take? And is the reward in that task going to be beneficial enough to expend that energy that way? I'm not saying don't do the task, but what I am saying is slow down and think about what you have to do. And also carry with you things to make that task easier. So case in point, when I said that I was going to be making a fire in wet conditions, and again, it has rained in Tennessee almost, I mean, it's a 31-day month here, it's May now, just so you know, while I'm making this video. But for the last 28 days, it has rained at some point almost every day. My yard is a swamp. Out at my campsite is completely soaked. All the wood's soaked that I have back here. So I'm gonna have to scavenge. Well, if I bring things with me into this situation, like fire plugs, fire starting material, tinder material, a lighter, then I have now increased my chances of making that fire. And I'm not putting down anyone who teaches this is the way you should do it. All I'm saying is there is other factors you might want to take into consideration instead of expending that much energy. This is not a TV show. This is not, you know, somebody just streaming to get clicks. For me in this, and talking in this situation, I'm looking at the life and death situation of it. And if I decide to follow certain people's information, and I'm not naming names, I'm not pointing anybody out. If someone comes back and going, I can't believe you said that about that person, I did not. This is an in general thing. There's great information out here on YouTube. But if someone's saying, you know, you need to carry a ferro rod with you, but you're not proficient with a ferro rod, you need to take a lighter. Take the ferro rod to practice with, but you need to take a lighter. Whenever I sell flint and steel kits, I send a ferro rod with them because I have had so many people tell me, I'm gonna take this with me as my sole way of making fire, and I've never used it before. And I'm like, well, you need to practice. Well, I'll be fine, I can figure it out. But what if you can't and you're by yourself and now you're wet and cold? So I started sending ferro rods with them so people could at least, if they know how to use a ferro rod, they can make a fire. But for me, if I'm in a survival situation, I want the easiest, most efficient way to build a fire. So I'm gonna bring a lighter. Preferably, I'm gonna bring a Zippo lighter or something that's refillable, because then I can find fuel if I'm in a bug out situation, but I also have the spark and it closes up. So it's thinking of all of these things and having that mentality of how much energy is it gonna take me to do this versus the reward that comes from it. So how can I limit my energy in getting a fire going, for example, and get a better reward, and I can focus my energy on other things, especially if you are tired from walking, because normally when people get lost, they just keep going until they can't stop, you know, till they just collapse. They just keep going because they're determined it's just over that next hill, you know, or you didn't bring shelter material, but you got rope and you still need to get a fire made. If you're standing there doing bow drill because you didn't bring anything with you, you're going to expense a ton of energy to where all you had to do was throw a Bic lighter or something in your pocket, and it doesn't take up any weight, and it doesn't, you know, it's there. Even if it gets wet, you can dry them. So it's that mentality that we need to have in survival situations of what is it that I'm doing, how much energy is it going to take me to do it, and what's the reward and the outcome. And like I said, I use this philosophy in every aspect of my life. I use it in work, I use it in projects, building, everything. I'm always looking for the easiest way and the fastest way to get it done, to use the least amount of energy to get the reward out of it. And if I do that the right way, I will be able to survive a lot better. So guys, again, going back through this, how much energy will it take me to do the task, and is the reward equal or greater to the energy I'm using? And if it's not, then you need to rethink how you're going to do it. And sometimes I'll go ahead and tell you, if you're in that situation, and you have no other way of, again, making a fire but a bow drill, then that's what you got to use. But still think about it and go, okay, how can I do it to where I'm more successful with it? How can I do it to where it's going to work better? Okay, I need to do this and this. So you might have to do a couple of extra smaller tasks to make the bigger task easier. But again, what tools do I need to do the task better or the project better? And what knowledge do I need to make it better? So those are a little bit of philosophy, guys, that I just wanted to put out there just to give you something to think about. And there's a huge amount of knowledge out there on the internet, so please don't think I'm saying that anyone's wrong. I just want you to think about you and your situation, and no matter how cool it looks, no matter how cool you'll sound, I would rather be able to build a fire or do something very fast versus struggling with something that's going to require so much more energy that I don't need to expend. But guys, that's the video. I will see you on the next one. God bless, get outside, and have an adventure.